Well, hello everybody and welcome to the MCAT Club. This is our weekly call for Monday, February 24th, 2014. My name is Don Osborne and I am the host of the MCAT Club. In case you haven't heard before, the MCAT Club is the place to go for up-to-date information about studying for the MCAT, MCAT prep, and I even answer your MCAT related questions live here on the call. You can find the MCAT Club at INQUARTA.com. I also have a Facebook channel and a YouTube channel. You can also see my tweets occasionally about MCAT and medical school admissions on Twitter. You can also find my Google Plus page, and who knows, you might even see me on Reddit. As a medical school admissions expert or consultant or coach, I work with you, amazing students who really want to get into medical school, but you may be stuck or you feel uncertain about parts of your application process, and you'd like to understand how to package yourself for medical schools. I am the most uplifting and encouraging advisor you'll ever meet because I work with you to turn you into a stronger, more competitive applicant than you can do yourself. Today, what I really wanted to do is spend some time answering some pretty common questions, recent questions that I've seen, in this case on Reddit. Before I do, though, I really want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to the AMSA chapter at Chapman University for asking me to come to speak to your club last week, you guys. Thank you so much. You were so nice to me and you laughed at my jokes and you asked some really good questions. So thanks again for inviting me to come to your club and giving me a chance to encourage and reassure you that yes, you can absolutely get into medical school. Also, if you're a club member or an officer at a pre-med or a pre-professional club and you want me to come and speak at your club, just email me at dono@inquarta.com and who knows, I may just say yes. Now don't be shy, just reach out and talk to me and you never know what may happen. I am traveling quite a bit this spring. I'll put my travel schedule in the description below. So if my schedule fits your area and you'd like me to come and talk to your club, I'm happy to come talk to you. Just send me an email and I'd be happy to answer, to work with you. And don't forget, if you are a member of the MCAT Club and you have a question that you'd like me to answer live on the call, just email me and I would love to answer those questions for you. Okay, so as I mentioned today, I thought I would go through a couple of questions posted by Premeds online. So I'm going to go to the Premed forum on Reddit and just go through a couple of questions right now. So let's just take a look and see what shows up here. Okay, first question is, what constitutes a good letter of recommendation and average length? Okay, so lots of people have their own favorite answers about letters of recommendation. I'll give you mine and encourage you to reach out and see what other people think. But here's the basics. A good letter of recommendation comes from somebody who knows you very well and who can speak about you as a strong candidate for medical school admissions. A good letter of recommendation may also fulfill one or more of several requirements that different medical schools have regarding letters of recommendation. And finally, a good letter of recommendation may also fulfill requirements of your pre-med committee if your undergraduate program happens to have one. Okay, so let's pretend that your undergraduate program does not have a pre-med committee, and as a result, you're going to be going through sort of the normal average process for letters of recommendation. So what kind of letter should you be getting? Well, you're going to need a couple academic letters from science professors, and you're going to want to have one academic letter from a non-science professor. I personally think it's a good idea to get a letter from somebody who's seen you in a clinical setting. And then from there, it's up to you. You can get a fifth letter from research or other volunteer experiences if you'd like. And I pretty much stop the packages that I help build at around 5 or 6 letters. So right about there. Now, what makes up a great letter among those is, as I mentioned, a relationship between you and the professor, someone who knows you really, really well and can speak candidly about your, not just your academic standing, but also your personality and how well suited you are for the kind of stress and adversity and experiences that you're going to find typically in medical school and later on in your career in medicine. Not everybody can speak to all those issues, which is normal, so you want to pick one or two of those for a recommender to speak about. How long should that letter be? I certainly think a letter that breaks the one-page barrier is a great, fantastic letter, and two pages is, really just fine. Anything like a page and a half, I think, would be more than enough. So that's the answer to the question about a letters of recommendation. Let me see what else about questions from Reddit. Okay, here's one. So I just took my second full-length practice test, and actually I got 1 point worse in each section than I did on my first test. So to make matters worse, my score went from what I would consider low, a 799, to embarrassingly low, a 688. I could really use some advice on what to do next. I'm scheduled to take the MCAT on May 8th, so I'm starting to think I need to push that back. My goal is to score somewhere in the mid-30s. I'm not sure if 2 months is enough to make that happen. Okay, so this is a great question, and here's why it's such a great question. 2 practice tests aren't really telling you nearly enough about your capability with regard to the MCAT. Now, maybe you've taken more practice tests, but it looks like you haven't. You've only done 2 full-length practice tests. So what I would encourage you to do is, at the minimum, take between 10 and 15 practice tests before you ever even decide anything at all about what your scores look like. That will give you the beginning of a trend and help you to get a sense of where you're at. One of my favorite stories is from a client of mine, and I'll tell you right now, she's gotten into medical school. But when she called me just 2 weeks before her MCAT, she was convinced she was going to do terribly badly because she took one last practice test. I think it was her 12th or 13th practice test. And she got like 5 points lower than she normally gets. And she was very, very afraid that she was not going to be able to do well enough. And she really wanted to push out her MCAT score and take the test later on in the summer. Well, I told her that probably the issue is not that she's prepared enough or not prepared enough. Probably the issue had more to do with maybe she was feeling a little overconfident about her MCATs, and maybe she got a little bit too cavalier, in her work. And so I suggested that she just let it be okay, set that aside, maybe do another practice test. Ideally, have her work on a practice test that you've already done in the past. So repeat the test that you've done before so that you can reassure yourself that yes, that you do understand the test, and yes, you can get good scores, and you know what you're doing. So she did that, and her actual MCAT score went right back up to where it was before. She was just a little bit more careful, a little bit more conscientious about her how she approached the test. She gave the test writers a little bit more respect, and it worked out perfectly well for her. And so that's what I would recommend for you as well, and not to let the second practice test say anything to you at all about your chances for admissions. Okay, let's take another question. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's a great question. MCAT advice. Should I retake the MCAT? Okay, first time posting, I was hoping for some advice. I took the MCAT in July of 2013, and I got a 34, 13, 9, 12. I'm a third-year undergrad and applied to some med schools this year, but did not get any interviews. I have a high GPA and good extracurriculars. I was wondering if anybody had advice about retaking the MCAT, and it's unbalanced because of the 9, and should I redo it? Absolutely not. I would absolutely not recommend that you retake this. It's very likely that your physical sciences and your bio are going to drop, and you're going to have a bigger problem, and that is just like, a no-brainer. Clearly, your score is fine. There's something else going on. Probably you applied later than you would have liked to. If you applied in 2013, you took the MCAT in July. It's usually quite late in terms of the application cycle, and that's probably what hurt you more than anything else. So don't let a fantastic MCAT score like a 13, 9, 12. Don't let that be the thing that you focus on to work on. Instead, reapply. You'll do fine. Reapply the very first day. get all your application content delivered early, as early as possible, and you'll do fine. You'll do just fine. Don't even worry about it. I guess one other thing to say about this is it's a great example, right? A lot of students do this. They take the MCAT in the summer. They apply after they get the MCAT scores back, and they wait on their secondaries, and just the whole thing snowballs. They don't get accepted to medical school, even though they've got great scores, great extracurriculars, great grades. They just don't get in because by the time they apply, medical schools have picked most of the people they want to apply, they want to enroll, and they don't have any seats for you left. So it's one of those things. Okay, so those are all the questions that I think I'm going to take the time to work on today. As we wrap up today, one thing I want you to know is if you want some help with a personal statement, I recommend that it's time for you to seriously look at your personal statement. You're going to have to work on your drafts, personal statement, and get a rough draft ready for your recommenders. You're also going to want to start preparing your final version of your personal statement for applications. It's the end of February. Application season is going to come up very, very quickly, and you don't want to get caught having to write a personal statement the end of May, in 4 hours when it's going to be a terrible essay and you're going to be very frustrated. So don't do that. And I recommend that you take a look at my online course. I have an online video course about writing your personal statement, and I'll put the link in the description below, and you can get it at inquarta.com/write-medical-school-personal-statement-4. And I'll put that link in the description, and I'll also annotate the video so that you can click right through to read more about that. Okay, thanks very much, you guys, for watching and for listening, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a great day. Bye for now.